pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Dolly, if you could do roll call, please.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Present. Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Councilman Abbott.
Here.
Councilman Dean.
Here.
Town Attorney Genesi.
Present.
And we had one minute presented to the board for approval. It was from our last full board meeting on November 19th. I've reviewed them and they seem accurate. I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Aye. Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Now, I couldn't, sometimes when I miss which of the town council men or women stop in to do the bills, but this week I did see that it was Councilman Cahill, because you were wearing a tuxedo when you came in, John.
It was a formal affair,
It
sir.
was. So, was it you that went over the bills this week?
It most certainly was. I found the bills to be in order, and I would move that we approve the bills as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second. Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Aye. Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
And I have reviewed the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance, and I make a motion to approve those.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Councilman Abbott.
Aye.
Councilman Cahill.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi. Aye.
All right, the next couple of resolutions is going to be Town Attorney Charlie Genesi's show. And I have a feeling you can give a Reader's Digest of what we're looking at here.
Both of these are requests to the state legislature because we are asking that we, meaning the town and the town board, be permitted to alienate, that is to convey, parkland or area that's been designated as parkland to another entity. And without going into all the various rules and laws that involve this, both of these transfers are going to what I'll say are municipalities. The first is going to the County of Monroe, and the second is going to the Webster Central School District. Item number 2 involves a conveyance of a portion of what is known as Sandbar Park, which Sandbar Park is an area of land a little under 2 acres, I believe, down at the bay outlet. It borders both the bay and the lake that the town owns, that we purchased after a referendum permitting the town to bond $1 million to purchase the property. I think it was in 2003. As a result of that, we own some property. There's also happened in the last year, there have been a number of construction projects and grants that have been given to the town of Webster and the county to improve the property down there to prevent further erosion, to straighten the road out, to make things safer for both pedestrians and traffic. And as a result of that, there's been an idea and a concept to change the roadway, which is Lake Road is a county road, and make it a little more amenable to traffic and pedestrians, and at the same time improve the I'd say the break wall. I use the term break wall, but the water erosion capability, or to lessen that, especially on the bay side. To accomplish that, the town and the county have agreed on a land swap. And basically, this is what we're seeking approval, because we need approval from the state legislature. Both houses have to approve. We're transferring 0.389 acres on I would say on the north part of the sandbar. And in exchange, the county is giving us, excuse me, .462 acres of land. And the land that is being conveyed is part of the Sandbar Park. The land that we are receiving will become part of the Sandbar Park. So we're actually getting a net a gain of approximately 3,171 square feet. We don't have a meets and bounds, but we do have a map that's been provided to the Department of Public Works, and that should be attached to the proposed resolution. I'll take any questions anybody has about this.
Charlie, I have a concern because I know that the home rule proceedings can often take a long time.
Yes.
Is this a time-sensitive matter since it's part of the Ready project?
I can't speak to that. I assume these are all relatively time-sensitive, but I think the key is that we get it moving. I have been in contact with Senator Helming's office, and they are aware of this. They know this is coming. So
Okay.
once this resolution is passed, I will ask the town clerk to certify a resolution and a map, and we'll send it on to the state. There's usually a lot of paperwork involved, and I was told, and I'm hoping that this is the case, that some of the paperwork that I thought was necessary is not going to be on this. So we'll see how that works out. And we might be able to move this along fairly
It's
quickly.
my understanding that it's the relocation of portion of Lake Road that's that's the cause of us having to go through this. Now, as far as it affecting the Ready project, it would affect the movement of the road, but I don't believe it will affect the embankment enclosures.
Okay.
It should not, because it does have I don't think that's tied to it, the coastline
Okay.
embanking.
Josh Artuso, our acting DPW commissioner, and myself, up until a couple weeks ago, were attending Tuesday update phone calls with various members of the DEC, the State Parks Commission, the county, all the agencies really involved in this Ready project. And Josh, my interpretation of it was they just wanted to make sure that we got it into the legislative process with the state. They understand it takes time. We reported to them all along that really where we would have liked to have done this and gotten it into Senator Helming's hands and our state assembly person back in October, they did say, look, really until the election is done, we're not going to be touching any of this stuff. So I know this, Charlie, I think when you reached out to Senator Helming's office after the election, they came back and said, well, first, your town board should do a resolution that shows that you're all in agreement with this. Then get it over to Senator's office, and she will get it into the legislative process. Now, I have not attended the last couple of Tuesdays' update meeting on these Ready projects because it just happens to be the same time as the reinstated county calls with County Executive Bello and County Health Commissioner Dr. Michael Mendoza. And I have asked Josh, can you please, make sure you attend solo for the town. Have you seen anything different in the last couple of weeks from what I just described? Is this the state representatives on the Ready call basically get it into legislation?
Right, yeah. They basically were urging us to get it ready for them to take up during the next legislative session that's scheduled to begin in January. So I think I reported that this board would be acting on it this evening or next meeting, and they were satisfied with that.
Now, this is a little poetic justice on my part. From what I've read of the tea leaves, and I admit that I don't really know how the state government works, but I think the state government sees the Ready projects as a real jewel for them. And they really want to get these things moved along, whether it's because there's election year coming up, they want to have ribbon cuttings, this and that. I get the feeling that the state will move forward on this quicker than maybe what we've seen in the past on legislative actions like this for alienation, parkland swap, this and that. That's just the feel I get from these meetings. And some of the representatives have even said if we've shown any type of like blip where it's gonna cause a couple weeks delay. They're like, no, we gotta move this thing along. The governor really wants to get these things, the shining penny, all to market in the beginning and middle of 2021. That should work to our advantage.
Yeah.
So, that's my guess. Probably a longer-winded answer to your question, Patty, than we're looking for.
I had the answer about 10 minutes ago.
There you
That's
go.
okay.
There you go. All right.
8 o'clock.
Well, well then I guess who thinks that they can read this faster than me? Because I think that for the severity of this, we should read the resolution out loud. Anybody have a problem with me reading it?
No.
As quickly as possible. This is a resolution of the Webster Town Board to approve transfer of property on Lake Road currently designated as town parkland, convey it to the County of Monroe, and requesting home rule legislation to permit such alienation. At a regular meeting of the Webster Town Board of the Town of Webster, Monroe County, New York, held in the Town Board Meeting Room on Thursday, December 3rd at 2020 at 7:30, all 5 board members were present. The following resolution is being offered and moved for its adoption. Whereas a 16,790 square foot, as Charlie said, a .389 acre parcel of land belonging to the Town of Webster located on Lake Road, currently adjoining Town of Webster parkland and designated as part of the former tax ID number 063.09-01-032.1 and 063.09-01-037, which were transferred to the Town of Webster by the deed recorded in the Monroe County Clerk's Office in Library 9768 at page 165, which lands are currently used collectively as parkland known as Sandbar Park and owned and operated by the Town of Webster. And whereas the Town of Webster is owner of the aforesaid .389 parcel of land, now known as Sandbar Park, wishes to transfer the said .389 acre parcel to Monroe County in order to fulfill resiliency and economic development initiative, i.e. READY, Project MO.56, the Lake Road realignment to allow for the realignment of Lake Road to mitigate flooding, calm traffic, and affect pedestrian safety, as well as improve the overall design of Sandbar Park. And whereas the Town of Webster will receive from the County of Monroe 20,141 square feet, which is .462 acres of land contiguous to Sandbar Park, for use by the town as parkland for a net gain to the town of 3,171 square feet, or .073 acres, in return for said alienation. Whereas the drawing and maps are affected, Pastor Associates is annexed here too as Exhibits A and B. And whereas it is further required by Article 8 of the New York State Constitution that consideration for such transfers is acceptable that another municipality transfer an equal or greater parcel of land, the form of parkland to be conveyed to transfer to wit the Town of Webster. And whereas the Town of Webster has the authority upon approval of the New York State Legislature to transfer this .389 acre parcel for the purpose set forth, and whereas the County of Monroe will agree to convey to the Town of Webster the .462 acres of land contiguous to Sandbar Park for the alienation of the .389 acre parcel by the town to it, and whereas the matter has been successfully discussed by the Town Board, and now therefore it be resolved that the Town of Webster, upon approval of the New York State legislation by means of home rule legislation, will be permitted to transfer to the County of Monroe .389 acres of land on Lake Road currently used as parkland and owned and operated by the Town of Webster in trade for .462 acres of land, which land is to be conjoined to the current Sandbar Park and to be designated and used as parkland by the Town of Webster. That upon the passage of legislation to permit the transfer of the aforesaid .389 acre parcel, the Town Board will make a home rule request permitting such transfer. That the Town Board of the Town of Webster will consent to be designated as lead agency for any coordinated review procedures for the proposed transfer under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. That the Town Board of the Town of Webster requests the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly to pass home rule legislation to enable the transfer of the aforementioned property from the Town of Webster to Webster. Excuse me. Is that
County of Monroe.
County of Monroe, that's a
Yeah, it
mistake.
should be County of Monroe, that was a typo.
from the County of Monroe to the Town of Webster? Is that the sequence from the
From the town of
county?
Webster to the county of Monroe.
From the town of Webster to the county of Monroe?
Correct.
That is the motion that is being proposed. Did you get that change?
Yes, I did. Did someone second?
Bill
I
did.
think Bill did.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi? Aye. Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
All right, I have one last question on this. It's been kind of gnawing me, and it said it in the resolution. It's both the state assembly and the Senate, state Senate.
Correct.
Now, we have Pam Helming. She certainly is our ally in this. I don't know our new state assemblywoman. How will she, Jen Lunsford, be brought into
I can
this?
only presume and hope that this is really non-political
Yeah.
legislation, that we would send it to Assemblyman John's office now and hope
Okay.
that it be carried over, because we're seeking both houses to do
Sure.
it.
And you know what, I've been meaning to reach out to Assemblywoman-elect Lunsford to say hi and whatever, so I will make a note to do that next week, and maybe within that, not to overwhelm somebody coming into office on January 1st, but I don't know, like you said, I don't know how political it is. I still think the state overall, as I said before, is trying to move the ready projects along. I have no idea if Assemblywoman-elect Lunsford knows anything about this.
For what it's worth, Supervisor, this, as you pointed out, this matter, the state is interested in this. The governor, I know, is pushing the Ready project, and I'm assuming that the majority of both houses is interested in seeing that this go through. So, assuming we have no problems, that's great. If we do, we could probably even go to some other assembly person and ask them to introduce it.
I'm also thinking that once it's in Senator Helming's hands, I know that in the past, she has worked in concert with the assembly person who
Sure.
represents our district, and I'm sure that in partnership, she will move it along there too.
That's very good, because to me, it seems like a very low-hanging fruit that wouldn't be controversial at all.
Correct.
We just have to make sure it gets done. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it won't be controversial. We just have to be sure it doesn't fall through the cracks.
Okay. Well, I don't want to say that of the first two home rule legislations is, I don't want to say that's the bigger of the two, but certainly, now that you have heard how this all works, I guess, Charlie, the home rule legislation on item 3 here for Yankee Stadium parking lot.
This is something that we thought was done. It was not done. The prior resolution indeed did not include the parking lot. And go back to about a year ago, I think all of you recall that we transferred Yankee Stadium to the Webster School District. That constitute about 7 acres. That's where the field sits and the stadium sits and the outlying buildings. There is next to that a parking lot, and for some reason it got through everybody. The parking lot was not included. It was not in the legislation. It was not in the deed, and we're now cleaning this up. But we do have to seek separate legislation for this. So basically, it's almost a redo of what was already approved. The state legislature did pass, both houses and the governor did sign legislation last year to permit transfer of Yankee Stadium. We are asking that now that the parking lot, which is about 2.65 acres, be transferred over as well. And the total amount of money did include, the intent was that it would include the parking lot. So we're just clearing this up right now. And so we're doing effectively the same thing. We are seeking home rule legislation to do this. It's spelled out in the resolution, and I don't know that you have to go through it all, but again, basically it's a 2.65 acre parcel. It's the parking lot that's adjoining it on Bolter Industrial Parkway. And the resolution references Senate 4417 and Assembly 6501 of laws of 2019, which were passed. So if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay, and Charlie, the only question I have is, that the way I understood it is that the stadium is around 7 acres, something like that.
Yes. Almost 7, 6.95, right.
And the purchase price, which in good faith was for the stadium and the parking lot.
Correct. The total purchase price was $324,000.
Right.
And of that, we are going to not transfer, I'm going to hold an escrow as attorney for the town, $50,000
Right.
pending transfer, which we can't do until we get approval from the state, and then we have our own home rule legislation by means of resolution and deed.
But the school district, in good faith, has paid us the 324. It's just a matter of the 50 is held in escrow until the
Correct.
devil in the details goes through on this 2.65 acres.
Correct.
Any questions by the board on this?
No.
Well, the things you catch at a closing, right? So, all right, well, I will do a little bit of a overview of this resolution. It's a resolution of the Webster Town Board to approve transfer of property on Bolter Industrial Parkway, currently designated as a town parkland, and convey it to the Webster Central School District, and requesting home rule legislation to permit such alienation. At a regular board meeting of the Webster Town Board, meeting on Thursday, December 3rd, 2020, all board members were present. Following resolution is offered. Whereas a 2.65 acre parcel of land belonging to the town of Webster, located on Bolter Industrial Parkway, currently adjoining the town of Webster Parkland and designated as part of tax ID number 066.03-1-6.003, which was transferred to the town of Webster by deed recorded in the Monroe County Clerk's Office in Liber 11060 at page 585, which land is currently used as a parking lot adjoining a sports field formerly owned and operated by the town of Webster. And whereas the town of Webster is owner of this 2.65 acre parcel of land located on Bolter Industrial Parkway, currently adjoining the former town of Webster Parkland, wishes to transfer said 2.65 acre parcel to the Webster Central School District in order to use said parcel in conjunction with the sports field already purchased for the benefit of the students of the Webster Central School District. And whereas the description of the 2.65 acre parcel is annexed here too as Schedule A, and whereas it is further required by Article 8 of the New York State Constitution that consideration for such transfer is in the form of fair market value to be paid to the transfer to wit, the town of Webster, and whereas the town of Webster has authority upon approval by the New York State Legislature to transfer the 2.65 acre parcel for the purpose set forth above, whereas the Webster Central School District agrees to pay to the town of Webster $50,000 of fair market value for the alienation of this 2.65 acre parcel by the town to wit, and whereas the matter has been fully discussed by the town board, now therefore be it resolved, the town of Webster, upon approval of the New York State Legislature by means of home rule legislation, will be permitted to transfer to the Webster Central School District 2.65 acres of land on Bolter Industrial Parkway, currently used as a parking lot adjoining sports field, formerly owned and operated by the town of Webster, which the sports field was transferred to the Webster School District in September 2020. That upon passage of legislation to permit the transfer of the aforesaid 2.65 acre parcel, the town board will make home rule request permitting such transfer, that the town board of the town of Webster will consent to be designated as lead agency for any coordinated review procedures for the proposed transfer under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, that the town board of the town of Webster request the New York State Senate and the New York State Assembly to pass home rule legislation to enable the transfer of the aforementioned property from the town of Webster to the Webster Central School District.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
All righty. Charlie, thank you. meeting, we did the 2021 contract with the town and Nequals. I think it was town and Nequals, right? The resolution tonight is for a 5-year contract, a very different scope than the 1-year contracts we do that we passed at the last meeting. For the most part, this 5-year contract that will commence on January 1st, 2021 and terminate on December 31st, 2025 mimics the most recent 5-year contract that WEMS or Nequals is in with the town of Webster. Do you have any comments about, like, in your opinion, what is in the scope of this contract? Because, you know, I in my layman terms know the difference, what I've seen in this 5-year contract versus what the board contracts with Nequals on the 1-year basis that we passed at the last meeting, which was more about how much the town is giving money in that year to Nequals. This 5-year contract is not about that.
No. So if we look at the two things separately, the NEQ contract, and frankly, I'm not sure why that's an annual contract. That's just been the legacy of it. I'd love to change it to a multi-year because we just do the same thing year in and year out. But the NEQ contract is to provide the advanced life support service for the town of Webster, which intercepts both ambulances in the town. The contract that you have in front of you today is for NEQ to be the operator of the town's certificate of need for the basic ambulance service. So it's for Webster EMS to operate, or sorry, NEQ to operate on the town's behalf their certificate of need and provide the ambulance service to the town. Different widget. And in this case, we give the town money instead of ask the town for money.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, this is not within the scope of this contract, but you and I have known each other for several years. It's a small town, kids go to school together, this and that. Can we commit on camera and whatever that somewhere in the first quarter of 2021, there's got to be a way to put something out to the public that is easily understood about when they get a bill, why they got the bill they got, when they have ambulance service.
Sure.
Because it
Not sure how
does
easy it'll
seem
be,
to
but-
be, and I don't want to, it seems to be something that is, and I can understand why. If you need an ambulance service, it's probably because you were sick or whatever, or got hurt. And then when you get this bill and you don't really understand why you got a bill, that just exponentially makes it worse. And I just think that there's got to be an opportunity that we can make it very clear, or as best as we can, this is why you got that bill. Or at
But you
least
got a bill because you incurred a service and you have to pay for it.
well, yeah, that,
No, that's a simple answer, right? So if you pay for
that's a
waste,
simple answer.
no, but if you pay for garbage collection, you get a bill and someone picks up your garbage. If you pay for other services in the town, for example, there are people that pay school taxes that have no children in the school. Still pay the school tax.
Right.
There are people that pay for fire tax in the town that never call the fire department, still pay the fire tax. In this case, we only bill for services rendered and for transports initiated. And we don't get paid for standing by while we're not taking calls.
And I'm at,
So,
I didn't
yes,
mean to
I would do my
blindside you
best.
with this. I really meant this as, this is going to be a team effort.
Yeah.
Because we're both going to benefit. The town, the people at the town that handle some of the billing on this, my office, the board members who get asked these questions, you who get asked these questions. We all benefit if the townspeople has a clear understanding of why.
Yep.
And I get what you're saying, and here's the thing, and I've said it before, is that, I tell you, give me 1 or 2 meetings with John about his business. Give me 1 or 2 meetings with Patty about her business. Those are 2 very different businesses, medical profession, dental versus construction. And I feel as if I can understand the billing mechanism and could put something together on 1 page that would take care of 99% of the typical questions that somebody would ask about why they got a bill from Patty's dental practice, why they got a bill from John's construction. You and I have met several times, and I don't mean this as an indictment. I'm just saying, I've never seen a business that has got so many if then, if then, if then, if then, and it's confusing as to all those if thens of why you get a certain bill. You gotta concede that.
Oh, 20 years.
Okay,
It's still very
you know,
confusing.
and so this is not like, there's no, it's just not accusatory.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
There's just gotta be a way that we can present to the community and be consistent in that presentation, because, I mean, from what I've heard, this is, you said 20 years. This has been going on long before I stepped into this seat, that the town board, the town employees who handle some billing issues within this contract, the supervisor's office gets these calls, gets these emails, and there
But the
just
calls
never
you get
seemed
aren't
to
for the
have been a
ambulance.
good strategy of how to address them.
But the calls you get aren't for the WEMS side. The calls that you get are for the NEQ side. So we also have to remember,
Right.
the real questions that we get are, why am I getting a bill that insurance isn't paying, and they're all on the west side of town? I get none. I mean, I don't get any of
You're
these.
going down the rabbit hole, and you know what?
The answer is yes, I will do it.
You know
I will
what?
do it.
This is relatively gonna be a short meeting.
Sorry, John.
I knew bringing this up, but I wanna just say it again. It's all good.
Yeah, no, we'll do our best.
Come on, we can sit down and have a cup of coffee. There's gotta be a way to be able to present a consistent, not war and peace. You gotta go through 97 pages to figure out your situation. Knowledge is power. And if we don't know how to explain the bill to the people, it just gets, it ups the anxiety level.
I agree. Yep.
If we can explain it, they may not like what they hear, but at least everybody's explaining the same thing and pointing to the same thing
Yep.
on the fee sheet or whatever you call it.
Yep.
So,
I'll
That's
do
it.
my best. Yes, I will commit.
does the board have any questions or comments about this contract?
I do. What was our previous contract and what was the time period with it?
So the previous one, Patty, or Councilman Cataldi, was for 4 years and a few months, because we took it to the end of this calendar year, but remember, WEM started in the middle of a year,
That's what I was trying to
right?
figure
And
out.
so and at the time, the town attorney and I weren't sure we could go beyond 5 years, so we didn't want to have it end in the middle of a year, so we just ended it on the 31st of this calendar year to make it an even break and then roll over. So it was a few months short of 5.
Thank you. It just doesn't seem possible that it's been that long.
I know, it sure doesn't.
I would have said a couple of years ago.
It's a year.
I remember the day my garage got
Was
wet.
it January 15th of this year that Charlie and Ahmed, you guys came back from New York and got the CON?
Yes, it was a big day.
Albany.
Albany,
Albany, not here yet.
big day.
Yeah.
So I would move that we authorize the supervisor to sign a 5-year agreement with NEQALS for ambulance services commencing on January 1st, 2021 and terminating December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye. And I promise you, I don't want to say this for the last word on the ambulance thing, okay?
Here you go again.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta say, and I know that the board members have all been closely tied to this, and Charlie, with you being involved with the CON and this, that. What I've learned over the last year is that your industry has, for some reason, slipped between the cracks of medical insurance, of essential workers. I mean, what I've seen happen to your industry, I think the general public would be shocked. And I go back to when COVID first hit, and the governor said non-essential people non-essential employees are going home and they can't work. And you called me and said, do you know that they consider EMTs, the EMS world, to be non-essential? And that weekend of March 23rd or whatever, scrambling around, writing letters to legislators, state assembly, that's shocking. I think.
Oh, I totally agree.
Not only is it shocking, but with all of the, with the reimbursements that have come since then through the CARES Act and different avenues, there is nothing to reimburse our first responders in the medical field it's counterintuitive, but their business dropped when COVID hit.
Yes.
Because people were afraid to go to the hospital,
Yeah.
they were afraid to make a call for anything other than COVID. And even with COVID, people were afraid to go. So their business really dropped off. But there has been no rescue, if you will, for them, which is just really embarrassing and shameful.
And then we had on top of that,
I gotta say, are you really surprised? Seriously,
I'd like to still be surprised, yes.
you'd like to be.
I know.
Geez, Barry, and I guess the general public, a year ago I was the general public, all right? And now I know just how little I knew. And I think a lot of people, the fire departments handle the ambulances. And that's just changed a lot in the last 20 years. And I think the proliferation of that and it becoming more privatized, along with the way the health insurance world has changed.
Well, you think that some things are gonna slip through the cracks, but this is one of the things that is astounding, that would slip through the cracks. EMTs are not essential? Really? Okay. None of that stuff ever surprises me anymore.
So I'm not going to say anything else. Barry got the last word. All
thank you for your support.
Good.
Please mark that down, Dolly, okay? Barry got the last word. All right. Well, look, I can tell that this is somewhat of a housekeeping item such that Paul Adams, our finance director, is not here tonight because I think he thought that we could handle this on our own. This is a proposed resolution to declare the following asset transfers from the Webster Highway Department for auction or recycling. A 1995 Grumman camera truck, asset number 03952. 25 years old. Okay, 2002 Ford F550 flatbed, asset number 02292. I'd love to know the mileage on that. Laptop, Dell Vostro, 2520 BTX highway asset number 05897, and a Dell laptop highway asset number 04279.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Yeah, it's too bad that Joe Herbst didn't put the year of the laptops, because I'm sure the board was like, a 1995 camera truck and a 2002 doesn't make your decision on retiring those and auctioning them too tough.
Well, I'm kind of wondering if we can hang on to that flatbed just through the weekend, because we need a vehicle to decorate for the parade on Saturday night. The town board needs something. Maybe we could use that flatbed.
I don't know if this, well, you know what, now wait a minute, because we're gonna do our 5 minutes for people to call in. Patty, so if you'd like to call in, I don't know if Karen has it across the screen, 585-872-7011. Patty, my kids have ideas.
Wonderful. I think we should take a moment and let Ahmed remind the public of this great event on
Yes.
Saturday night. Maybe you want to talk about it?
Absolutely.
Sure, thank you very much. So this Saturday, starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at the Xerox campus, is the 2020 Webster Holiday Parade of Lights. It is open to the public and free. There are now 66 vendors or exhibitors coming, so we added 2 more today. There will be, we figured about 2.5 miles worth of parade route for people to zigzag in and out, and we have over 3,100 cars. So we have sold out almost the entire event. So it's very, very exciting. If you have not registered, you're welcome to come. Please enter the facility through Salt Road, where you'll be directed, and you'll get to see the town board, or some of them, before you leave the parade, standing next to Santa Claus. So Supervisor Flaherty can get the last word in.
The traffic may never move.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Dolly, they did vote on my contract, right? Supervisor.
You know, Barry, when we did the mask handout, I don't think I was holding up the line. maybe I see things out of my own rose-colored eye.
There you go.
There were other people handling the line that we were like, okay,
I could
we
agree
need
with
to-
you on
we
that.
need to shut them up.
And I hope that the weather Saturday night is better than the weather for the mask handout.
Yes.
Should be
We're
good.
not, I had to edit a lot of my kids' ideas because they were inappropriate, but that's why they're kids. But I said, here's our challenge. We're not a vendor, we're not a store, we're the town board. Not for nothing, that's kind of a boring, thing to pass by on the parade.
Not
We
if
can't hand out things,
Not if we dress up.
not if we dress up. Now that's where they were going with.
Okay, good, we need to get together on that.
Yep. Yep. Dressing up. Are we about 3 minutes left?
Do we
Well,
can I do one more thing?
sure.
So, I don't know if you've all saw the call that we took the other night.
Yes.
But now that we have the audience of the town, it is absolutely vital that we check our heating systems this time of year. We had a very, very ill patient that experienced a carbon monoxide poisoning in her home that almost took out first responders. So the call came in as a regular sick call. Our EMS went in, assuming a regular sick call. They started to treat the patient in the residence. And it wasn't until somebody noticed that there were 2 dead cats in the house that they said, what's going on here? One of the senior paramedics on scene said, go get a CO detector and everyone else get out. They came in, the CO levels on the first floor were at 500 and the basement were at 2,000. Just as a reference point, your CO detector at home goes off at 25. So those are orders of magnitude over lethal levels. So had that resident not had those animals that we noticed and got out, and we continued to work that ill patient in the home, our responders could have succumbed and we would have been in trouble, and they wouldn't be able to call for help because they would have been down. Subsequently, first of all, the cats survived. The patient is still being cared for. But subsequently, yesterday we ordered CO monitors without any budget for it, so we borrowed and begged. But we're going to put one on every basic life support bag, so every ambulance will now carry one in, because we don't always go with fire anymore. So in our town, we're usually blessed to have fire and police respond, but in the COVID era, we're running under these 36 calls, and fire and police don't respond with us. So we would have gone in by ourselves, as we did, and we didn't call for fire until we needed help doing CPR. And then we realized it would have been a far bigger problem. So we put them on all the BLS bags and all the cardiac monitors for the paramedics. But the request would be, and we did a little video blurb for it the other day, please, we're in heating and cooling season, there are warm days and cool days, and more people are staying home than they traditionally do. So CO usually kills people at night, in their sleep, because you've been gone all day, you come in, you don't realize you go to sleep, and it gets you in your sleep when the heat kicks on. But now people are home, they're home with their children, they're home with their pets. CO is at risk all day long. So please, if you don't know how to do it, call an HVAC person, but you have to check your heat exchangers, make sure the birds haven't nested in your exhausts.
Get detectors.
And thanks, Councilman Dean, get detectors. They're under $100, they plug into a wall. In this particular case, the house had 2 detectors, one 5 feet from the furnace and one 15 feet from the patient. They were both under recall.
Wow.
So if you have a hardwired detector that is within the last 7 years, please call someone and check to see. But there's a whole brand of kitty CO detectors that detect but do not alarm, and that is what happened in this case. So that's our public service announcement for the night.
Thank you.
Well, Charlie, any comments, last words?
Nothing.
That's disappointing. Usually, when you throw something out there, I know it's going to get fun for the next month. Bill?
Pass.
Kicking field goals for the Bills this weekend?
Not yet.
All right. Bionic leg. All right. I like your tie.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you last. Josh?
The report tonight.
John?
It was great to see the sun today.
Ready?
Nothing to add?
Tally?
I have nothing.
Huh?
We've got a whole lot of
In
nothing
that
at this
case,
table.
this meeting is adjourned.